I went on Unity News Network at the end of February and I attributed the war to the climate change agenda. And people must have thought I was mad. Of course, it's a real war and a territorial dispute that may take years or decades to settle. Russia has claimed 4 oblasts alongside the Crimea, and most people there are relieved after persecution by the Azov battalion, blatant Nazis. So, how on earth is climate change relevant to Ukraine? Tellingly, as revealed by journalist Seymour Hersh, it was the US administration that ordered the destruction of the Nord Stream pipeline. What are the Extinction Rebellion people saying about that? They have their middle-class jamboree and celebrate themselves. Oh, they are so up themselves. They've got nothing to say about depleted uranium bombs being supplied by the British to the Kiev regime. Francis Fukuyama preposterously declared the end of history, but what he really meant was the end of politics. Instead, a consensus of neocon and neoliberal top-down globalization. Initially, a welcome mat was laid out for Vladimir Putin. He was a young global leader of the World Economic Forum. They were enticing Russia to participate in what they called the rules-based international order. But Putin saw the trap. American deep stater Zbigniew Brzezinski plotted the vast landmass of Russia divided into 6 smaller countries. The Kremlin rejected EU pressure to sign the Kyoto Protocol. Chief Economic Advisor Alexander Illarionov said, "There is no evidence confirming a positive linkage between the level of carbon dioxide and temperature changes. It is not that which influences the temperature on Earth, but just the reverse. Temperature fluctuations caused by other emissions influence the concentration of carbon dioxide." This was the last straw. From now on, Russia was an enemy of the globalists. Russia was blamed for Trump and Brexit and the Skripal poisoning farce in Salisbury. Like China, the Russians knew that climate change is a scam.
Well, I think it's quite a historic day today. We've had the first public rally against the Ukraine war, which is quite incredible, really, that we have this war going on with Russia, and it's really a proxy war, NATO against Russia, although it's the Ukrainians that are fighting it. Well, no, I think we're quite clearly spending billions and billions of taxpayers' money sending missiles and training Ukrainian soldiers, and we've got servicemen there on the ground as well. The globalists, the New World Order, if you like, see the Russians as a major obstacle to their project. Putin was initially had a welcome mat laid out for him. He was a young global leader of the World Economic Forum. But then when Putin realized what the globalists wanted to do, they wanted to split up Russia. And they wanted to impose this climate change agenda. And Putin, like President Xi in China, know full well that this climate crisis is contrived. It's all a con. It's all about control. And Putin is doing actually a very good job for all the freedom-loving people in the world. Because yes, he is seen as a great dictator for invading Ukraine, but of course he's there to defend the Russian-speaking people. who are being persecuted by Zelensky's regime. And that harassment and hatred towards Russian speakers was being pushed by NATO and by the European Union. What we have now is a situation where the vast majority of the British public have been persuaded that there's some terrible Hitler-like figure who's creating havoc in the world. But it's actually the West that's creating havoc. It's the West that is destroying, not Russia. All the sanctions and all the military effort against Russia are clearly failing. And instead the ordinary people of the West are suffering. And what about what's actually going on in Ukraine? They have got no interest in it. They've got no interest in the fact that the Americans blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, releasing tons of methane into the atmosphere. They seem to have no interest in the depleted uranium bombs that the British government is sending to Ukraine. They seem to have no interest in the carnage being caused by fighting this proxy war for NATO against Russia. So this is a state of Britain today, where 20 years ago we had 1 million people came out to march against the Iraq war. Where are those marches now? Well, I'm very pleased to say that there are still some of us here, and a good turnout today, I thought, and we've got to start from somewhere, and let's hope that this is the beginning of a movement against this unnecessary, cruel and destructive war in Ukraine. This is a war being waged by the globalists, by the New World Order, against Russia, and we've got to reject it. We've got to reject this war, and we've got to reject the New World Order.